Hi guys. Ooh, you're wobbly today. So I decided to give you guys the chance to decide on what I would talk about today. So I can either talk about other ways you can help with your sales during your craft shows, or I could talk about pricing your products. So we're going to wait till there's a few people that come on, and we will then decide what we want to talk about. So like I said, we can either talk about how to help market yourself, how to help bring up your sales when you're at craft shows, or I could talk about how to price your products, or how I kind of figure out my pricing for my products. So we're going to wait for some people. You guys can comment below on which ones you would like for us to kind of talk about. I really like having everybody join in and comment and throw in some comments, because there's obviously things that I don't touch base. Just either I forget, or we all have our different ways of doing things. Maybe I didn't hear of a certain way. So I want, I'd like for people to comment below and kind of give me some other ideas and stuff that we can all share together, because that's basically what it is. I may have some tips, but we all have tips. So if we can all keep them in certain areas, then it'll help other people, find this video and then get some other ideas. So we're going to wait a little bit. We have one person, and then we get two, and then they leave. So we're kind of just going to wait. Who is here? There's one person that's here. There's two people that are here. Who is it? Just comment below and say hi, or let's see who's here. We have 3 people now. So who's here? Just comment below and just say hey, or, let me know which ones you want to talk about. Either the pricing or helping you with sales at the markets. We're getting up with a few people. You guys have to comment. I don't know which ones you guys want me to talk about. We're gonna wait. It's live, so I can sit here all day. You guys can come and go, but we're getting up there in views. So like I said, the new people that are joining, I'm just waiting to see what you guys want me to talk about. Whether we're going to talk about pricing and how I price my items, or we're going to talk about helping you with sales at the craft show. So let me know below what you guys want me to talk about. I don't necessarily want to do both today, but if I have to, because nobody wants to tell me what they want to talk about, I might have to. We're at 8 or 9 people now. Come on, guys, don't be shy. I'll wait here. So today, it's not going to be a normal day today. I want to try and stick with Tuesdays and Thursdays to do little chit chats. And once I don't really have too much more, to talk about, unless other people give ideas, then I'll just do kind of how I do certain products. So I'll just do like live demos, I guess, or whatever. I know there was one lady that I was talking to this morning. I can't remember her name, so I'm hoping that she can be here. I told her at around 12 or 12. I think I told her 12:30, but the baby went to bed earlier today, so I have to do it a little bit earlier. But she asked for me to do live soaping. I would, but I ran out of lye, so I can't do that until I get some more. But yeah, so we're just waiting for anybody. One person can comment what you guys want to talk about. Either pricing or bringing up your sales at the craft shows. Which ones do you guys want to talk about? We're at 10 people now, so at least one of you guys can let me know what you guys want to talk about. As for YouTube, I know a lot of people are wondering about that, and they send me messages about the channel. It's still there. You guys can subscribe and join, and watch the videos that are there, but it's still not monetized. I apparently forgot a step. There's a code that you were supposed to take. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm completely lost, so I had to email tech support and obviously that takes forever. So we're just waiting for that. Who knows? I might have to redo a completely new channel and do step-by-step properly. I have no idea. So we're still waiting on that. Are you guys going to tell me what you want to hear? I'll just pick one then. Let's do costs. Because I know that a lot of people think that it's pretty easy peasy, or a lot of people get really angry when someone messages or puts a comment on here and says, you know, how much do you guys pay for this, or how much do you price this or that, and a lot of people get very like blunt and say, well, we can't do that, you have to calculate your costs and your material and your time and blah 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 blah, which is true. I'm moving the table a lot right now, but anyways, that is very true, and that is something that you need to consider. But there's a lot of other things that you need to consider as well. And so whenever somebody asks a question like that, I like to just tell them what I price my stuff at, because you have to do research. You can't just, you know, do your, so let's just start with the formulas, the basic little formulas that people like to follow, okay? So to figure out your costs, so how much it costs you to make a sugar scrub, okay? One of these. How much did it cost to make one of these, okay? Now, you're gonna, the actual formula is your material, so your sugar, your wax, your oils, your colorants, your fragrance, all of that kind of stuff, the container, the label, those are materials, okay? So you're gonna take material plus your time. We'll talk about how to do your time in a little bit. But anyways, that's the basic formula to figure out your cost. Then if you're going to be doing wholesale, you're going to take that cost, so that price, so your cost times 2. Now, that's going to give you, so let's say the material plus time, it comes up to $5, let's say, okay? Your wholesale cost is going to be $10. So that's how much you're going to sell that product to people who are wanting to buy your products and sell them in their stores. If you're wanting to sell retail, you're going to take that wholesale price and times that by 2. So when they are going to, when you or your wholesale companies are going to take that product and sell it to the public, that $10 now becomes $20. So your retail cost, or the cost that your wholesale buyers are going to sell the product as, is now double your wholesale price. So the product that first started at $5 will now be sold at $20, okay? Now, there's a lot that comes into play with how to price everything. And it doesn't just start with how much are supplies and how much is and what your hourly wage is, okay? You really have to start at who is your target. So are you targeting younger children and having them as, you know, fun, and again, I'm not going to say children, but like teens and stuff. So it's going to be more like lush type products where it's going to be really colorful and more childish kind of thing. Is it going to be your early adult, you know, 20 to 25 or 30 kind of thing, where it's going to be still fun but a little bit more mature? Or is your target for, you know, the older 30 to 40 or even 50, where you're going to want to introduce ingredients that are known to help with you know, dark circles and fine lines and drier skin and aging skin and stuff. Obviously, you're not going to claim that, but we all know that there are certain ingredients that we can use that we know and that the public can find out that will help. So is that your target? Are you not wanting to do bath bombs and you just want to do soaps? Are you wanting to do mainly bath bombs and not, okay? So you're getting the idea. You really want to figure out who you're targeting, what your brand is going to be all about. So that's where you really want to start, because let's say I make a bath bomb And I want it to be all natural and, no preservatives, no this and that, no added, blah, blah, blahs, okay? So, because I'm targeting the more natural, hippie type people. So, my pricing for a bath bomb is going to be on essential oils. It's going to be on the baking soda and the citric acid and your fillers, cornstarch, cream of tartar, whatever you want to use. You're not going to use SLSA, odds are, and you're probably not really going to use any colorants, odds are, because you just want to keep it, clean and natural and basic, right? But then you're going to have another girl who sells the same types of products as you, but she likes to have fun and and make her products stand out in color and scent, so fragrance oils, and she's gonna add SLSA. She's gonna wanna spice things up a little bit. Well, the branding and the target of these two ladies are completely different, but it might at the end cost the exact same or close to the exact same for their products, but it doesn't mean that their price is going to be the same, right? Because that product that has the fancy essential oils and stuff, she could easily price it a little bit higher because she feels that I'm trying to use natural ingredients or as many organic ingredients as I possibly can, and so it's making it more of a high-end type product. Or the other girl can say, you know what, it's taking me, time and effort to put all of these little details on my bath bomb, so I need to bring my price up to a more sophisticated area because, I'm doing this and this and this. But those two products could easily be the exact same price, but one could be priced a little bit higher than the other one and vice versa, okay? So that's one thing that you want to kind of take into consideration. If your target margin is more to the high class or, that type of people, then you'll be able to bring your prices up a little bit more. Whereas if you're in an area where, people are a little bit more on minimum wage or, then you're going to have to bring that price down a little bit, regardless of how much the actual product cost, okay? So you have to take that into consideration. You can easily do a bit of research. So I like to use Etsy. I like to go on website of people that are around me and check out if they've got prices. Check out their prices and see where you would fit in there, because maybe you have to bring down your hourly wage a little bit and it not be so high because, let's say if their bath bombs are $5 each and your cost is, not reflecting that and it's a little bit higher, so that your retail price, if theirs is $5 and yours ends up being $7, you might not sell as many, right? Because you're not fitting in your target area. So you have to take that into consideration as well. You're wanting to attract a certain crowd. So if you don't want, the people that are trying to get deals and stuff on everything that you sell, then you don't want to have cheap or you don't want to undersell yourself in your prices. So if you want to have a sophisticated type line, then your prices are going to have to reflect that. So again, it's still coming into play that if, let's say, her sugar scrub is only $10 and you want to be a little bit more sophisticated and use a little bit more sophisticated ingredients or have a fancier label or whatever, and you want to charge yours at $12, that's just going to kind of put you in that fancier type product, or vice versa. Again, if you're in an area that you can't really sell super expensive items because people just don't buy it, then again, you'd be bringing your price down. So these are things that you want to look into. The next thing is sourcing your products. So you want to try to stay away from retail prices when you buy your products. Obviously, a lot of us buy supplies online through specific websites, depending on if you're in the States or in Canada or Australia or wherever you're located. You always want to try and get the cheapest prices. And that's for everything. So that's, that's for your actual supplies. That's for your containers. That's for your labels. That's for your packaging. So like your shrink wrap, anything like that. Your ink even. If you can buy, we have Costco. If you could buy your ink at Costco and it would be $10 cheaper, then you go and buy it at Costco instead of buying it at your regular business depot type area. So you really want to be conscious about the prices of your supplies, because that's going to reflect then your actual price. So if you didn't get a good deal on, let's say, baking soda, just because you didn't get a good deal doesn't mean that you can raise your price now. You have to suck it up and kind of cut into your hourly wage a little bit to make it work. You can't keep, well, for me anyways, you can't keep fluctuating your price just because you got a deal this time and you didn't this time and this and that, okay? So your price has to reflect properly on your the deals that you can get for your supplies, basically. Now your labor. Your labor is something that's very personal. I know some areas, even just minimum wage is a lot higher in some areas than it is in other areas. You never want to give yourself minimum wage, or at least I would never give myself minimum wage. If you were to go and work in the real world, you may not want to have a minimum wage job, correct? So you want to give yourself this is your business, this is your life, this is your dream. So you want to give yourself a hourly wage that reflects that. Now you don't want it to be too high either, but you want it to be where if you were to actually do this and it was like a successful, and not that your business isn't, but if you were like full blown doing this for a living, could you live off of that wage that you gave yourself? So if hourly you were getting that amount for, let's say, 9 hours in a day, could you live off of that price? And if you can't, then you have to bring it up. And if you can, then you're good. So for me, I like to say that you should keep it between 15 to 20 and even sometimes $25 an hour, again, depending on where you live. Or you can give yourself a flat rate. So let's say there's a certain product that just takes a big amount of time and your hourly wage just does not reflect it properly. You could say, okay, so when I make this, I'm going to automatically give myself $30 or whatever it may be, okay? So you can do that for certain products as well. But just remember that at the end of the day, the final price, so your retail price has to fit in with your branding and your target area. Now, things that people don't remember when they're pricing and how to kind of, well, not how, but things that you forget to incorporate in your costs for your formula. Now, if you paid for insurance every year, if you have travel costs, so let's say that one of the supply websites is about an hour away, and it's a lot cheaper to just drive there and pick everything up than to pay for shipping. You have to take that price into consideration. Driving to, we have Michael's, driving to Fabricland, driving to Staples to get more labels. All those little costs are something that you have to take into consideration because they're costing you money for your business. If you weren't working for this business, you wouldn't be taking that trip, right? So these are extra things that you need to take into consideration. Your gas, your electricity, your water, your phone bill, your internet bill. These are all things that have to come into play, and you need to figure out a certain percentage, whether it's, once you figure out your costs that you add, let's say whatever, 1% or 2% or something to kind of compensate for all those extra costs. That's something that you need to take into consideration because it's a cost. It's a material, if you want to call it that. If you didn't have electricity or if you didn't have water, you wouldn't be able to make certain products. If you didn't have the internet, you wouldn't be able to market your company. If you didn't have a car, you wouldn't be able to go and pick up the labels and whatever. You know what I mean? So these are all things that you need to take into consideration. Now, when it comes to how do I want to say it? When it comes to giving sales or underselling yourself. Now, when you're looking at your demographics and you're saying, okay, so it looks like the pricing that I have for, let's say, the sugar scrub is good. And you go to craft shows and you feel like, no, it's not really working. It's not really selling. I see another girl there that's selling it for $8 or, okay, so I obviously have to kind of rethink my pricing. Don't go and always switch it to $8. If you really feel like, no, $10 is a good price. It's just that right now, maybe the time of year, or maybe your area is kind of going through a little bit of struggle, work-wise or something, and people aren't buying so much. Don't undersell yourself either. So you could always do a sale, so people realize that it's actually worth $10, but I'm putting it on sale for $8 right now. And so maybe the next craft show in a month, or maybe even in next weekend or in 2 weeks, that's not going to be the issue anymore. So you're going to take that sale off and it's going to go back to $10. Whereas if you undercut yourself, if you say, okay, no, they're not going to be $10 anymore, they're going to be $8 now, and then you go to the craft show and all, let's say there's 2 or 3 other vendors that are selling similar products and they're selling theirs at $10, you've just undersold yourself now. So you're now stuck to say, well, yeah, it was $10 last week, I changed it to $8, but now I'm going to change it back to $10. So if you just do sales, people will see that it's worth this amount, I'm getting a sale. So sales don't last forever, right? So you could always do that with certain things. I know when I'm starting to test things out, for example, I had done a poncho, like a poncho cape, and technically, if I was following my guidelines, my formulas, my market, all that kind of stuff, I felt like the poncho should have been at around the $120 mark. But the craft shows that I was going to, I knew that wasn't going to be a good price. It was going to be too expensive. So I said, okay, well, let's just test the waters, and I'm going to put it on sale for $80. And if I can sell them at $80, then I'll just keep it on sale, right? Or I can bring my price down to $100, let's say, or whatever. And if they don't sell at even $80, then I know that I have to kind of reevaluate my prices and see what's going on and what's not working, okay? So you could always do that for larger products, or larger pieces, items, whatever it may be. And this isn't just for Bath and Body products. This could be for anything, right? And then the next thing would be for freebies. You never want to give anything away for actually free, okay? So even when I was talking about like spa parties and stuff, and you want to give gifts or prizes and stuff, obviously there are some prizes that you're going to give away if you're just playing games, but when you're at craft shows and stuff and you want to maybe give samples or freebies, as some of them would call them, you want something in return. So if you're going to get if you can get a returning customer out of it, it's a lot better than having somebody say, like, I don't know, I like the smell, but like, I don't know if I'd really like it, or, so then your first instinct is going to be like, okay, well, I have to try and give them a freebie so that they can try it out, or a sample so that they can try it out. But it shouldn't be as easy as that. So you should kind of have little signs even that'll say, buy $30 or more and get a freebie, or, sign up for our spa party and get a freebie, or sign up for our newsletter and get a freebie, or, anything like that. So get them to either give you contact information so that you can then use that to grow your business, either spa party wise, newsletter, or however way you want to do it, or that they're actually going to give you some money. And in return for maybe something that they're unsure about, then you can give them something that would be free or sample. Because that product still costs you money. It still costs you time. So at least if you're selling some other things, the retail price and whatnot that you charge for that, you have a little bit of cushioning to kind of pay for that freebie that you're giving away. Okay? So those are basically the tips that I kind of have when you're pricing. I know that I'm not giving you actual, like, I mean, I gave you some formulas. I'm not giving you actual breakdown prices and stuff on how you should figure things out, but at least it'll kind of get some people thinking like, okay, it's not just, you know, material plus time and all that kind of stuff. You really have to take into consideration everything else. So like another thing, and I just thought about it, another thing with your material that people aren't even thinking, your pipettes, when you use your pipettes, if you're going to use a little plastic container to pour, you know, something in and you're going to throw it out, that costs you something. Again, your ink is costing you something. So you really, really have to sit down and think about, you know, all of that. And it's not to say that, you know, every pipette you have to add 2 cents, and every time you print something you have to add a penny, or, you know what I mean? I like to kind of just figure out, you know, a percentage to kind of tack on to your material plus time costs that will cover for all those little things that you might not think about. Again, like internet and gas and insurance costs and stuff like that. So just really, I guess, really just take the time to figure out a proper price, but then also look at what's around you. So for those who kind of get annoyed, and I don't even have to hear you guys typing it out. I can see it when you guys type it out, that when somebody asks, how much do you charge for that? Don't attack them and say, well, we can't do that. We don't know, you know, your price for this, your price for that, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. But that's not what they're asking. They're asking you because they want to research in all what people are pricing their products at, because maybe theirs isn't high enough and they can bring it up and make a little bit more money because they're getting their supplies cheaper, or, you know, because maybe they're not giving themselves a proper hourly wage. Okay, so just relax when it comes to questions like that. Just answer how much you charge, and at the bottom then say, by the way, you may want to also take this into consideration, that you need to, you know your price for this, because maybe they don't know that too. But just don't attack them so much, okay? Because it kind of bothers me when people do that, and I always feel bad for that person, because that's not what they asked. They asked what you price your product at, okay? So that's pricing, I guess. If there's any other questions, you guys can kind of comment below, and I can answer anything else. Now, I guess I'll go to the craft show part of it, and how to kind of help your sales and whatnot, market and all that kind of stuff. So I just have kind of a breakdown of things that you should be doing before the craft show and after or during the craft show. Now, I know that I spoke about the craft show the last time, and this was more setting up, okay? This is, now that you're set up, or you've got your setup good, how am I going to generate sales, and how am I going to get people to come to my booth and buy things, okay? So, of course, like I spoke about, and there's going to be a few things that I've spoken about before from the past chit chat, but it's just to keep everything together for here. So, of course, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to either create an event, or you're going to share the event, and you're going to share it on all social media. So even if you just take a snap or a screenshot and post it on your Instagram or on Twitter, Facebook, anything like that, you want it to be known everywhere that you go on social media that you're attending that event. I've even done, again, I've mentioned that before, either on an app or just on Word, you can actually list all of the craft shows that you're going to. I like to do that at the beginning, and then as they start coming closer, I like to repost that and then post the actual event link so that they can go to the link and check it out and check out the information and either click, that they're going or whatever it may be. And then I also like to actually post the actual event and not just a link. So you want to do this many times before the actual show comes. You want to invite all your friends, all your family, anybody that's on your Facebook, you want to invite. If there's certain people that obviously don't live around you, then avoid those people. If there's people that that don't attend, like some of the guys on my Facebook, I know that they're not going to go. But it doesn't mean that maybe their wives wouldn't go. So we also had to kind of, keep certain things into consideration when you're going through your list and adding people. But definitely your family, at the end of the day, they're family. So too bad if you're annoyed that I've been inviting you to all these craft shows. You're family. You should be going anyways, right? So families, invite everybody. Friends, kind of, pick the ones that you know are for sure going to go. When you get to your event, you want to make sure that you have a cash box, and you want to make sure that you have Square. Not everybody has Square, but it is a really good thing to have, because you'll be able to take more payment methods. So cash is great. Everybody, will pay with, well, pretty much anybody is going to go to a craft show and have cash. But sometimes if it's a larger craft show, or maybe they only brought $50 or $20 or something, and they don't have enough money, the Square or any type of card reader is going to be great for gathering more sales. So that's a really good thing to have. Have plenty of cash. I have a specific amount that I leave in my cash box every time. So I leave $200 in my cash box, and whatever that I made extra that day, I take out and put into account or whatever. But I always like to leave a large amount, and many different bills. So a lot of 5s, a lot of 10s, 20s, change and stuff like that. I don't really have anything that's like, it's normally rounded up. So I don't really have anything that's like $250 or, well, there's a few little things, but like I don't carry really small change. It's more like the quarters, loonies, toonies, stuff like that. Because everything else, just, you're not using it, so there's no point on carrying it. Price everything if you can. So like I had mentioned on one of the other chats, I buy these little rectangle stickies kind of thing, and I write the price and I stick it right on the product. I like to stick it on the sides though, and not on the actual thing, because if for whatever reason, like there's times where I do giveaways or whatever, I don't want the price on there, so I have to like peel it off, and it could peel off your actual label. So I like to put them on the sides or wherever you don't have your label, just so that if you have to take it off, you can. But that's a really good way to kind of keep things a little bit more clean and organized. Whereas if you've got little signs everywhere, it's okay, but if you're trying to go like, for me, I'm trying to kind of go for like a sophisticated, clean type store looking setup. So I don't really want like handwritten on chalk little signages and stuff. I have some, but I've went and like printed it out on my silhouette so that it's like a fancy like chalk writing and stuff. I don't tend to really write a lot of stuff out by hand, just because I don't find it looks always professional if you don't have a really nice handwriting, and then it can get smudged and stuff. So if it's written on the little labels or on the little like stickers kind of thing, and you stick it on there, you'll know that it'll always be there, and then you don't have to constantly be, changing signage or whatever. So that's always a really nice thing to do. You want to have proper signage. So again, if you're not doing that, you want to have the little signage, the little signs and stuff. If you're having any sales or promotions, you want to have that visible, and same thing with your banner. So I would recommend to actually have like a big banner. I know for a little bit I didn't when I ended up getting my big booth, because I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to kind of put it in there, because there isn't really a specific place, but now I figured it out. So I bought myself a big banner to put on top, but you could have a big banner to put on front of your table, or like one of those standing banners that you can kind of put behind. And if you don't have that, because there's some people that, again, it's not affordable or whatever, it's not in your budget right now, you could always just print out something and put it in a nice frame or something, and just stick it on your table so that people can see it. You could always go to like your local like copy place and maybe enlarge it to something a little bit bigger than, an 8x10 or something, and then that way it's a little bit bigger. It didn't cost you, $30, $40, $50, but at least it's a bit bigger and people will be able to see it. So make sure that you have that. The reason why I talk about signage is because if people don't know who you are and what you're selling, odds are they're just going to keep walking. When you go into a store and you're looking, let's say even at clothes, if there's no price on it, even if you love it, a lot of the times, for me anyways, a lot of the times, if I can't see the price, I put it back. I don't care if it was only $10. If I couldn't see the price, I'm not going to buy it. because I just almost assume it's going to be too expensive. So proper signage, banners so that they know, like this is a Bath and Body, or this is sewing, or this is crocheting, or this is, candles, or whatever it may be. You really want people to know that that's what you're selling, so that if they're interested, they're going to go there. Arrive on time and early to set up. So if you have 2 hours to set up, you might as well show up at that first hour, like the 2 hours before. Even if your setup isn't that big, I mean, to a certain extent, show up earlier than need be, because for me anyways, even though I don't organize events, my worst pet peeve is when I'm all set up, I'm ready to go, I've had my, my water or my hot chocolate, I don't drink coffee or tea, so, my morning beverage, I've had my snack, I'm all set up, I'm ready to go, and the table beside me still isn't ready or even there, and we're going to be opening for people to come in about 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden they show up and they're scrambling and they're still not set up when people are walking in. It's very unprofessional for you as a business owner, and it's very irritating to the people that are around you, because we're trying to look professional and organized and like we've got our shit together, and you don't. So it's just kind of putting a bad vibe in that area, right? Those people are going to avoid that area because they're going to think, oh, she's not ready yet, so we're not going to go and bother her, or she's not ready, so why would we go and see her, right? So they're going to avoid your area. So make sure that you're early, on time, and that your stuff is set up well before people show up, because we all know that just because it says 10 o'clock, it doesn't mean they're showing up at 10 o'clock. They're going to be there at 10 to or quarter to, and they're going to start walking around, okay? So always be early, on time, and prepared, and look professional and ready to go. Have an attractive booth. So like I had talked about in the past chit chat, I kind of gave some ideas on how to present like a proper professional presentable booth. Make sure that that's what you have, and ask, post it on your own Facebook, or post it on these types of group pages, and ask for input, and tell the people, be completely honest with me because I want to better my booth. If you know that you're kind of just mediocre, or it's not a good booth, but you're just starting out, so you don't know, ask, and people will give you some tips and advice, and take those tips and advice and use them. Don't just take them and brush them off, and don't even, take them into consideration, because we're telling you these because we see it, and the people who have been doing them often know what kind of works better than what doesn't work. Okay, so take the advice and use it. Have a good banner. Have a sign somewhere posted for your next craft shows. So I've seen this a few times with other vendors that let's say they have 5 other craft shows after that, and they're all like one weekend after another, or very close to. Again, they print it out on Word, make it all nice and stuff, and they'll say our next craft show is, and then they list them. Come and find us, at our next events. So it just kind of makes them see that you're very involved in the craft shows. You're going to be available in the next few weeks. So if there's a product that they really liked and they used it up and they want more, they know where to find you. So that helps to generate more sales as well. What else was there? Offer freebies and discounts. So if for whatever reason, you're getting to the end of your stock, or your season, let's say, and you kind of want to get rid of what's left, you could put a sale for that day and say for today only, or for this event only, I'm offering 10% off, or if you buy $30 or $50, however much, you get this at 50% off, or something like that, just so that it kind of brings people in, and it's okay, like this is a good sale. And even if you have the sale again at the next one, you don't have to say that, because you don't know if you're going to have the same amount of product or whatever available. Or I mean, if you're at the end of your season, then you're probably wanting to get rid of product to bring in new stuff, but still, that can be a sale that goes on every single craft show if you want, but you're just making it seem like it's just for today, and that's okay, because maybe you won't want to offer it the next time, and that's okay. So have little sales if you want to kind of get rid of some stuff. But again, don't undercut yourself either. So don't do the sale where you're not going to really make any money. And again, try and get money for a freebie, okay? That always kind of generates more sales. Label your logo on as much as you can. So I know a new thing that I'm gonna do, and I've wanted to do this for a while, but I've just never gotten around to doing it, is actually putting even your label on the bags that people are gonna, that you put the products that people bought in and that they're gonna be walking away with, because that bag is going around the craft show and they'll be able to see the logo. So that's something that you want to do. If you've got like your business card, you want to make sure that your logo is clear on it. If you've got little pamphlets, you want to make sure that your logo's on there. If you want to wear t-shirts and a hat or whatever, put your logo on it. Make sure that it's clear. It's always nice sometimes to have something in the back of your shirt that's kind of going to be eye-catching and either get people like interested in your product. So it could be like a little funny whatever, you know, or if you want to start promoting spa parties, you can always write like, ask me about our rewards plan when you sign up for our spa parties or whatever. Okay, so just have something on the back of your shirt if you want something on there that's going to kind of attract people and get them wondering like, ooh, what does she have that I can get, right? So that's always something that you can do. You can also do like pens, you know, any little like swag stuff. You could do that too. A lot of the times, well, there's some craft shows that will actually ask for sponsoring. So they have swag bags for the first, you know, 100 people or however many people that they want. So make sure that you advertise really, really well if you're going to be putting anything in there. And that will also generate sales. So they're going to go home, even whether they bought something or not, they're going to go home and look through the bag, and then they're going to see whatever that you put in there and be like, oh my God, yeah, like, you know, I seen her, or I bought this, or, and then it's going to get them talking, and possibly coming back for more sales, right? If it's a larger event, I know some of you guys do like 50,000 attendee type events. Now, I would do that. This is the next thing that I'm going to talk about. That's the type of thing that I would do for larger events. The type of events that I've been going to aren't that big, so I wouldn't necessarily do that. So this is something you're going to kind of have to test the waters to see if you do want to or not. But you can, if you have somebody else with you to man the booth, you can walk around and offer freebies or discounts. So you can have little cards that say like, bring this to the booth, you know, from date to date, or just bring this to the booth so that you don't have to reprint so many out, and save 10% off or whatever. So you could just walk around, you know, the festival or whatever, the fair, and, you know, as soon as, if somebody kind of looks at you like, oh, she's a vendor, if you'd have a shirt or whatever, but still, I find if you've got a clipboard, they're going to know. Stick your label on the back of your clipboard so you can kind of walk around and people would see, right? So as soon as you kind of make a little bit of eye contact, or even if you don't, just start passing those around and say, like, come to our booth, you'd get 10% off if you show them this card, come, you know, or however much, whatever. So that's going to kind of attract people, because not everybody is going to walk by your booth if it's a really, really large event. So that's going to kind of, you're not going to want to do it around your booth. You're going to want to go to the other end, like at the entrance, or the entrance of, let's say there's a concert too, go to the entrance of the concert. If there's a food area, go over there and just pass those to the people that are sitting. Or, you know, you kind of want to go the opposite direction of where your booth is to try and attract those people to come to you, because they might not make it depending on how big it is. You can also do demos, like live demos. So depending on how you're set up, I know that I'm set up to be able to do live demos. So with my booth, I actually have an area where I can put a bladder on the back of my booth and hang it, and the hose comes into the front, and I have a bowl there. So it's basically like a little sink. So I just pull the little knob, the water pours out, and you plug it back up, and you're good to go. So I have, you know, water whenever I want. You could do live demos there. So you can say, like, you know, if you see a couple people walking around, come over here, guys. Like, I want to show you what our bath bombs do, or I want to show you how the bubble bars bubble, or I want to show you this or that or whatever. So that's going to attract people who may not know what the products are or how to use them, and get them seeing live right there how it works, which then could generate more sales. Have proper packaging. So if it's something that's kind of a little bit more delicate, have tissue paper to be able to wrap it up. If they're ordering a lot of stuff, don't have it all in little bags. Have bigger bags. Maybe even have like some little boxes and stuff so you could put their stuff in, because that's another thing too. If they're carrying all these little bags and stuff, it makes it very awkward, and it makes it an awkward moment. So they might go home and be like, you know, I bought some stuff, but like I had to hold all these bags for the rest of the show and it was really annoying. You associate annoying with not really wanting to buy anything else, okay? So take that into consideration. Have sign up sheets for if you have a newsletter, if you want to advertise for the spa parties. I had seen when I was kind of just doing some light researching, I had seen a girl that talked about like that wheel, so you could kind of create that if you've got a big enough booth or if you have the area, and do like freebies. Again, you're not wanting to give anything away for free, but it could click around and you could have, you know, win a prize if you sign up to our newsletter, win a prize if you sign up to our spa parties, you know, clicks there, spend $10 and get $5 free. You don't want big prices on that wheel, because if it's like, oh, buy $50 and win $10, the people are going to feel like, well, you're just suckering me into buying a bunch of stuff. So keep it in smaller prices. But that's something that you can do to generate some extra sales. It might take a little bit of work because you'd obviously have to create it, but it would be something that would be pretty useful. I just want to make sure that I hit everything. I'm going to talk about cranky customers after too, because somebody had mentioned that. Now, to try and keep yourself positive, to then show that to your customers, you want to really try and stay away from any drama that's happening behind the scenes at the craft shows. We all know that it's there. I've been involved, not in, you know, dramatic issues, but, you know, I've chit-chatted with some people and all of a sudden you're talking about how crappy the craft show is. You don't want to get yourself involved in that kind of stuff, or you want to try not to, only because people can hear you. And so as they're walking by and you're talking to your neighbor about, oh, today was so slow, like I really didn't make any sales and blah, 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 they're going to be walking by and thinking like, well, why didn't you make any sales? Like, is your product crappy? Is it, you know, like, what's wrong with you, basically? And they're not going to stop out of pity, right? So you want to just stay positive. And if they're going to start talking to you about things like that, you're just going to say like, you know what, like, let's exchange, you know, whatever, Facebook accounts or something, or profiles, and we can chit chat about it later, just because I don't, you know, I want to stay positive today and try and get some sales. Even though it is slow, I want to try and stay positive and get some sales. They might feel that that's rude, but you know what? You just really want to try and stop that. I've been in that situation where it's really slow and I'm chit-chatting and I just feel, it just brings me down and I feel yucky about it. And then I don't feel like selling because, yeah, it is slow and yeah, it's shitty and, you know, whatever and stuff. So just try and stay positive and stay away from stuff like that. You do also want to keep your chit-chatting with your neighbors to a minimum, especially when it's busy. If it's not busy, then you can a little bit. But I don't want to say, as soon as you have a customer come, within the first time, you want to set the example of, you know, there's a customer, I'm going to talk to you in a bit, or like, and just give her the hand and say, I'll be right back, and go and see the customer. Don't let her think that you'll continue chit-chatting while people are just, you know, checking your product out and stuff, because then those people are going to think that you're not paying attention to them, and then your neighbor's going to think she doesn't actually care about her customers, so I'm just going to keep chit-chatting because I don't have anybody. So you really want to set the example, sorry guys, you really want to set the example the first time that a customer comes, if you're talking to her, that no, my customers come first and you're second. You're just, you know, there to kind of hang out with because you're my neighbor, right? Another thing that you do want to do though, if you are getting along with your neighbors, you do want to get their contact information, a business card, anything like that, because later on, if you want to do a little event or something and you really liked their product, you've seen that they were busy or whatever it may be, you could invite them then to attend one of your craft shows if you're going to do a craft show, or call them up and say, like, I'm doing a spa party, did you want to come and check out my products? You know, if she bought product that day, you can say, like, I know you bought this and this and this, you know, you want to come, and or do you want to do a spa party? So there's always little ways to kind of get more sales that way, or spa parties or anything like that. So you do want to be nice to them. You want to make sure that they know that your business is your business, but that, yeah, you're sociable and you're outgoing and easygoing and stuff, and you're nice and positive and you can talk to other people. Don't stand directly in front of your booth. Don't stand directly behind your booth either. as much as possible. I guess if you're going to stand behind your booth, stand, don't sit, is what I should be saying. Because I know a lot of people do how their booth is set up. They do stand behind it. Just don't sit. So when someone is approaching your table, stand up, get off your phone, all that kind of stuff. Don't even let them see that you're on your phone. So if it's busy, don't be on your phone. If it's slow, do whatever you want, but try not to be on your phone as much as possible. But yeah, if you're standing in front of your booth, don't stand directly in the middle, because then it's not inviting for people. So stand to the side a little bit, smile, don't look bored. Don't be like, slouched over onto one leg and stuff like that. Stand tall, stand proud, and you'll see that people are going to want to come to your booth a lot more that way. If you're speaking to a customer and they're talking about a product that they don't really know, or whatever, and you guys are standing in the middle of the booth, and you see that other people are coming, kind of just as you guys are talking, say, oh, let's just move over to let those people take a look, or whatever. If you feel comfortable, like, you can put your hand on their back and kind of guide them over to the side, just to let the traffic kind of continue going, even though you're talking to a specific customer and trying to get a sale through them. So try and do that. Now we're going to talk about the cranky customers, the customers that go in there, they're not going to buy anything. They've got that disgusted look on their face, or, they're just not happy customers, period. And you're not going to get a sale, but for whatever reason, they feel like they need to put their 2 cents in, okay? The easiest thing that you could do is just nod and smile. If they're going to say like, oh, I don't like that smell, or, oh, like, I don't take baths, or I always get, a yeast infection when I use a bath bomb, so I don't use bath bombs, and like, whatever the comment may be. It could be super nasty, or it could just be as simple as, I only use Avon, or I only use whatever. I don't buy, this kind of stuff, or whatever. If you don't want to deal with them, that's okay, and let them move on, okay? That's all you have to do. You don't have to unleash the, just nod and smile, and they'll keep walking. If you do want to address it, these are a couple lines that I've kind of started to use and started practicing, because you don't want to be in the situation where you're pissed now because they're judging your products that you put that time and effort in, and you don't have time for this, okay? So you want to be prepared. So these are maybe some lines that you want to practice to get used to saying naturally. So these are just a few. I'm sure you'll find something that you'll like. There are tons of crafters out here. So if she says like, I don't use this type of product, or I'm not, then just say, I'm sure you'll find something at the craft show that you'll like. Just mosey along. That's not what you're saying, but just keep walking, and that's fine. Another line, if they say, I don't like this, that's okay. I'm sure something will catch your eye here. So you're kind of letting them know that that's fine. You don't like it. Keep going on, because maybe something else will catch your eye at another booth, but just keep going, okay? I find little lines like that kind of involve the rest of the craft show in saying, that's fine if you don't like my product, but I'm sure you'll find something around here, so just keep looking, is going to kind of go into their brain as, okay, she realizes that I don't like the product, but I'll keep looking around, which means that they're going to leave your booth so that they can find something else that they like. If you want to be a little bit more, I have said this a few times to people that are really, really like grinding my gears and really getting under my skin about stuff. I've kind of brought in, it's still saying basically that that's okay if you don't like my product. I'm sure you'll find something else, but you're wanting to slip in that this is your products that you've invested time in. So I've invested a lot of time in these products. It's okay if you don't like them, but other shoppers will. So basically you're letting her know, or him know, that it's fine that you don't like my products. Other people do. It's a lot of time that I put into here. So carry on to something that you do like, so that you can leave space for people who do want to buy the products. Because I take a lot of time. This is my job, okay? So you can kind of reword these, but this is the basic idea that you want to throw out to people if you want to say something. There's times where I don't say anything and that's okay, And then there's other times where I feel like I have to say something because they're just being over rude. Now, this isn't just for Bath and Body products. This is for anything. I've had people, even with my fabric bouquet business that will grab a bouquet, like a sample bouquet, and just start waving it around saying, oh my God, this is way too heavy. Like I could never, carry this, and they're like, they have no respect, right? So those are the times where I would stop in and be like, you know what? I've put a lot of time and effort in these products. It's okay if you don't like them, but other people do like them. So, give me my bouquet back so that I can give it to somebody who would appreciate the work that I've put into or whatever. Okay. You don't want to be rude, but you want to be like, no, then if you don't like it, then go. Okay. So I hope that that's going to kind of help, because there were a few people that in the poll had mentioned how to kind of take a nasty client or customer. So those are things that you can say. Now I'm just quickly going to mention the different kind of parties, because I know that was also another topic, and it's a short topic. So I'm kind of grouping a few. They might be longer videos, but whatever. So the different kind of parties, I just want to touch a little bit of quickly on this topic. So we did talk about the spa parties. So if you want to know about that, just go into the group and search my name, and there's tons of videos that are coming up lately because I'm doing them a bit more often, and there is one specifically on the spa parties and how you can go about those. So that's one that's pretty generates a really good sale. You can do your own spa party, so you would have people come to your own home and have the products laid out and they can buy there. That's also a really good type of show. It takes up a lot of more time and work, but it's still really rewarding. You could do online parties, so it would be the same idea as doing the regular spa party with a hostess, except you would just do it online. And you could follow basic, guidelines in how people do online spa parties. They would create an event. You would have to have prepared documents and stuff to post on the event, but it's basically the same thing as you would do any other independent consultant type online party. You could do a catalog. I call it a catalog tag along party. So you would, this takes a little bit of time because you may want to invest in having pictures in the catalog and have it like a few pages kind of thing. But this would basically be something that you would give to a hostess, and they would kind of bring along with them either to work, or if they were going, somewhere or whatever, they would bring this, and then they could show their friends and family and coworkers and stuff. They would order, so you'd have to have order forms ready for them and stuff. They would order, she would give you that, and then you would make the product, give it to her, and she would bring it to wherever that she was getting the orders from. Now, this could be done over, a period of time, so a couple weeks or anything like that. And if you want her to give you back the catalog after, if you laminate it, make it all nice or whatever, you could do that and just make a few, or you could, have a lot of them, and then they could just keep it clearly marked, it's from this time to this time or whatever it may be, if your products are going to change a bit. But that's another easy way of kind of generating sales through parties. You can also do mini events. You could do craft shows as well, but that's not necessarily generating sales for your business. That could just be either helping for fundraisers or just bringing in extra income, because it has nothing to do really with your business. It's just you wanting to do events, right? But the little mini events would be, this is where you would contact the neighbors that you've had through the craft shows that you really like, and ask them if they want to attend just a little mini event. So you could do, depending on where your event would be, if it's just like a little restaurant or a little boutique, or even your home, you could do this. You could do it closer to Christmas time or whenever, really. Christmas time would be a really good time to do them. But you invite a couple of your business colleagues to come together and put a little table. You could either charge them a price or not. It's up to you. But yeah, it's just kind of like a little mini craft show type thing. And if it's in your home, you could offer like drinks or whatever. And if it's at an event, then they would buy their drinks and stuff there, but it just gives you a chance to kind of sell to different demographics. So if, they are selling whatever, obviously something that's not Bath and Body products, or that's not what you sell, but they have a different clientele that maybe has never gone to craft shows, because that's just not what they do, or they've never seen you. So it'll kind of mix everybody's businesses or business customers type thing up, and give you possibly an extra advantage in doing some sales. So those are some kind of parties that you can host or do offer to bring in some extra sales. So I think that I've covered everything. You guys were pretty quiet today. So I may not do them on Friday anymore, but I did cover a lot of topics, so I don't think there's too many left for us to kind of do little chit-chats. If there's anything else, again, like usual, you guys can comment below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. It'll probably be next Tuesday. Like I said, I'll try and do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays unless something happens, but if everything goes smoothly, it'll be next Tuesday. Bye, guys.